Amazon just posted a record $24.1 billion in U.S. online sales during Prime Day. On the surface, it looks like a consumer boom. But dig deeper, and it's a warning. Because while the headlines scream growth, the data quietly reveals a very different story about the real state of the U.S. economy. This is Global Notes by JP, and today we're decoding what Prime Day spending actually tells us about inflation, confidence, and where the economy could be heading next. Let's start with the optics. This year's Prime Day was the longest ever, 4 full days, up from the usual 2. And while that helped boost total sales by 30% year over year, it wasn't because consumers were suddenly flush with cash. In fact, Day 1 sales actually fell by 41% compared to last year. That's a brutal drop, and a clear sign that consumer confidence is shaky. Instead of upgrading electronics or splurging on big purchases, Americans were buying dish soap, toilet paper, and paper plates. Data from the research firm Numerator shows that 2/3 of Prime Day purchases were under $20. Only about 3% of purchases crossed the $100 mark, and the average household spend was just $156. This isn't celebratory spending, it's cautious stocking up. So what does this say about the economy? First, inflation fatigue is very real. Even though the official inflation numbers have cooled, people still feel the pressure. Prices remain high, and shoppers have become hyper-aware of value. They're holding onto their cash and focusing on essentials. Second, the return of Trump-era tariffs is already changing buying behavior. Big-ticket imports from China are getting hit with fresh duties. That's made categories like electronics, appliances, and auto parts more expensive. As a result, some retailers skipped Prime Day altogether or scaled back their deals on higher-margin products. Consumers aren't buying less because they've lost interest. They're adapting to new constraints. And here's the deeper signal. Prime Day is no longer just a sale. It's a real-time economic barometer. When people avoid spending on anything over $100, it's not about preference, it's about pressure. When startup brands like Ilavi succeed by selling $15 cashew butter, it's because the market has shifted toward affordability-first logic. And when Amazon's biggest Prime Day winners are ad placements instead of actual products, it's clear the company is now leaning harder into monetizing attention, not just merchandise. The fact that Amazon needed a 4-day sale to hit record numbers doesn't show momentum. It shows maintenance. They needed more time to get the same result, and that's not sustainable. So here's the question. If $24 billion in sales is the good news, what happens when that stops? What happens when credit card rates remain high, when tariff pressure continues to spread across categories, and when household savings finally run out? Prime Day gave us a rare and clean look into the American wallet. And what we saw is a wallet that's still active, but increasingly cautious, increasingly strained, and starting to close fast. If you're tired of surface-level reporting, Global Notes by JP is where we go deeper. We track the global macro signals hiding in plain sight, from retail spending to central bank shifts to digital currency power plays. If you found this valuable, make sure to subscribe and check out our latest video on how Walmart and Amazon's stablecoin strategy could reshape the future of the US dollar. It's all connected.